The views and opinions expressed in the DILLIGAF podcast are those of the host alone and are not intended to express those of any other person, business, or entity. The DILLIGAF podcast is for entertainment only. These are my opinions and should not be interpreted as facts or advice. Think for yourself.
Keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh, yeah. I think that we've all had enough.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the DILLIGAF podcast, talking about anything and everything that interests me. If it makes me think, laugh, cry, scream, rage, or say, what the fuck, you'll hear about it. My name's Tom. I'm your host. I want to thank everybody for watching or listening on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Make sure to follow, like, subscribe, share, rate, comment. All that stuff really helps out the show. So please, if y'all don't mind, drop me one or two of those things. I would be extremely grateful. Make sure you're following on social media. You can find the show at DILLIGAF_pod on all platforms. And you can find all of that on my Linktree, which is Linktree/DILLIGAF_pod, or just scan the QR code right here in the corner of your screen, and you'll find links to all the podcast platforms, social media, and all that kind of fun stuff. If you ever want to shoot me an email, it's dilligafpod@gmail.com. So we got a fun topic today. We are talking about justice and vengeance. Now, some people would say these are the same thing. Some people would throw karma in there as another part of the same equation. To me, justice and vengeance are two very different things. Very different. Justice is all about consequences. You know, it's like, if we're talking about in the legal sense, you commit a crime, there's a price to pay. It's, you know, consequences of actions. And justice is supposed to be unbiased, without feeling, just cold. And I don't mean that in a negative sense. It's just supposed to be, it is what it is. It's, you know, you see the statues in every courthouse, and you see it in pictures, the Lady of Justice holding the scales, and she's blind. And that's how it's supposed to be. I stress, supposed to be. We'll get more into that in a minute. Vengeance, on the other hand, is all about retribution, and it's emotional, and it's raw, and it's usually person to person is vengeance. It's got nothing to do with any type of system or anything like that. It's just, you do something to me, I'm going to do something back to you. You hurt me, I'm going to hurt you. And it's just, it's raw. And, you know, usually, God, what's the word I'm looking for? Like I said, it's just emotional. It's raw emotion is what vengeance is. And let's talk a little bit about justice first, because on paper, like I live in the US, obviously, but on paper, our justice system sounds great. It looks and sounds great. You know, that you're innocent until proven guilty. There's no self-incrimination. There's no illegal search and seizures by law enforcement. You're entitled to a trial by jury. There's bail, and you're entitled to legal representation, and you get appeals. And we have things like parole and probation and community service and fines, you know, for supposedly lesser crimes and things like that. And like I said, on paper, it looks and sounds great. Except for one tiny little thing. It doesn't fucking work. Our justice system is so broken, it is just embarrassing. There is so much corruption and incompetence at every level of the justice system, from street cops all the way up to the Supreme Court. Just corrupt, incompetent, unfeeling, just people don't care. If you've ever dealt with anybody that works at any level of the justice system in the United States, they don't give a shit about nothing. They are the most miserable people you ever want to meet in your life, whether it's a cop or a lawyer or whatever. that they all look like they just hate life. And I understand it's got to be a very stressful job, and you're dealing with some just horrible things all the time. But damn, you want to see miserable people? Go visit a police station. Go visit a public defender's office or a state's attorney's office or any level of the justice system. You will see some miserable goddamn people. And I think that contributes to just how much our justice system fails because these people don't care. And to me, that would seem to be a vital part of working in the justice system would be to care about people, to want to help people and see justice done and all this kind of cliche bullshit. Doesn't work that way, folks, unfortunately. And it's sad, and it's not just the corruption and the incompetence and the miserable ass people. Let's start with the police. Number one, police are not trained in the law. I defy you to show me one cop who knows a goddamn thing about the law. That's not what they're there for. You know, they most cops make shit up as they go. Like if they don't like it, oh, it's illegal because they get a badge and a gun and they think they're running shit. And if you give them attitude or talk back to them, the next thing you know, your ass is in handcuffs, which is illegal, by the way. You're perfectly allowed to tell a cop you think he's a piece of shit. That's kind of guaranteed as you know, living in the United States. You have that right, and it's not a crime on any level, not at all. But and another thing, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, a lot of people don't believe this, but it's true. The job of the police is not to protect people or to prevent crime. That's not the police's job. As much as we might want it to be, that's not what they're there for. The job of the police is reactionary. Their job doesn't start till after a crime's been committed. Then they do their investigations and make arrests and gather evidence and all this kind of crap. The job of the police is reactionary. There's nothing proactive about police work. They do nothing to prevent crimes from happening. They show up after the shit's already gone down. And that's just the way it is. A lot of people don't want to believe that. They think police are there to protect and serve. They're not. It can say it as big as it wants on the side of the police cars. Cops are not there to protect and serve. And let's not actually no, let's get into like as far as police profiling people based on race or where they live or the kind of freaking car that they drive. It's ridiculous. And people are going to say, oh, not every cop is bad. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Because even if they're not the ones doing this shit, they know what's going on. They're allowing it. They're not stepping up and saying anything. And other people are going to say, oh, they can't. They're afraid they could lose their job or face retribution. Then don't become a cop. If it bothers you that much and you're that afraid to stand up and say something, don't become a cop. Because if you become a cop, you are part of the corrupt system. It's as simple as that. It really is. There's going to be a lot of people that want to argue that point, but it is what it is. There's no justification for any of it. So and from there and all that stuff, you also get into all the excessive force. I mean, my God, I live in Chicago. There was a police shooting here recently. I'm sure you saw it on the news if you pay attention to the news. The police pulled over somebody for a seatbelt violation. Legitimate reason to pull somebody over. There was 4 cops to pull over one guy. Apparently, they were part of some special task force, special unit within the police department. I don't know. Don't know the whole story behind that as to why there was 4 cops for one traffic stop. But apparently, this guy that got pulled over had some kind of warrant or something for a weapons charge, and he had a gun in the car. Cops would have searched the car. They would have found the gun. He would have went back to jail. So this idiot, and I'm talking about the guy who got pulled over. He's a goddamn moron. Pulled out a gun and shot at the police. Okay, if you shoot at a cop, you're going to die. Let's make that very clear. You shoot at the police, you are basically as good as dead. Okay, so police had every right to return fire, but This is where the problem comes in. This is where I talk about excessive. 96 shots within 41 seconds from the police. 4 police officers fired 96 bullets in 41 seconds. That is excessive. Did they have the right to return fire? Of course. Did they need to keep firing when the guy was already dead on the ground? No. No, you can stop. One officer fired more than 50 times, which means he reloaded his weapon at least twice. And just to again point out the incompetence of police in this situation, of the 96 shots fired, approximately 30 hit the suspect. So less than a third. And mind you, this is taking place in broad daylight in a residential neighborhood. You know, this wasn't on the side of the highway. This wasn't in some industrial area. This was a residential neighborhood at an intersection, houses everywhere. I'm sure there were kids, living there. I don't know what time of day it was. Maybe, but that doesn't even fucking matter. Just unloading on this guy. And again, they had every right to return fire. They were defending themselves. I get that. 96 shots is completely uncalled for. All 4 of these cops need to not be cops anymore. Because goddamn. Okay. And like I said, a third actually hit their target. Where did the rest of them go? Is everybody in that neighborhood okay? How many windows got shot out of houses and shit? You don't, that's the stuff you don't hear about in the news. So, just to give you an idea, when I talk about incompetence, this is what I'm talking about. It doesn't take 96 bullets to take down somebody. I mean, the side of the guy's car looked like the Bonnie and Clyde car from back in the day. If you've ever seen it, where it's riddled with bullets when Bonnie and Clyde got when the cops caught up to them. That's what this guy's car looked like. Just bullets, bullet holes all down the side of the car. Absolutely ridiculous. And now let's get off of the police for a minute. Let's talk about the court system and bail. Okay, everybody's entitled to bail, but my God, some of the bail that is set for people is outrageous. And they can never pay it. And all bail is a guarantee that you're going to show up for your court date. That's all it is. And if you show up, you get it back eventually, hopefully. But that's all it is to guarantee you show up for court. But if I'm, if I get arrested for stealing a car or something, they put like $100,000 bail. I can't pay that. So my ass is sitting in jail till my court date. That's what I'm talking about with excessive bail. It's like, okay, I get it. You want it to be enough that these people, have to show up. But if you are setting bail at an amount that these people obviously can't afford to pay. I mean, I'm sorry, somebody living on the south side of Chicago does not have $50,000 to put up for bail. And I'm not trying to profile anybody myself, but let's be real. If you live in an apartment that is only costing you, less than $1,000 a month, you don't have $50,000 for bail. Hell, I don't have $50,000 for bail. I don't have $10,000 for bail. It's just ridiculous, and it seems so arbitrary. That's the thing. And I don't have a law degree, so maybe there are, procedures or policies in place that regulate how much bail can be charged for what crime, or, depending on the record the person has and things like that. But it just seems so arbitrary, and $1 million bail for a murderer. Okay, that to me is justified. Somebody steals a loaf of bread, just let them go home. They'll come to court. that there's no common sense in any of this stuff. And then, getting into the next phase, the punishments. People talk about punishment fitting the crime. When does that happen? When and where does that occur? Because you hear about this stuff. Somebody murders somebody, they're out of jail in like 3, 5, 7 years. What? Because they got some kind of plea bargain, or they sexually assaulted somebody. They're out in 5 years if they get jail time at all. But then, you've got people sitting in jail for 20+ year sentences for selling marijuana. That's not justice. Okay. A murderer walking free after 5 years is not justice. So again, the justice system is broken. And then, let's be even more real here. The people who have money can buy justice. They can pay for whatever they want. If they don't want to go to jail, they're not going to go to jail because money buys anything. It buys cops, it buys lawyers, it buys prosecutors, it buys jurors, it buys witnesses, it buys judges. Money buys anything. So the justice system is fucked. It doesn't work. So, but we're stuck with it. It's what we got. So that's why nobody wants to call the cops anymore when something happens because they know they're not going to do anything, even if they do show up, which a lot of times they don't. But so I to me, justice is a joke. It really is because it doesn't exist. It's not a thing. Now, let's get into something that I personally think is a little more productive, a little more satisfying, definitely. I'm talking about vengeance. Good old-fashioned revenge. Somebody does something to me, I'm going to do something to you. It's about payback. It's biblical if that's your thing. It's an eye for an eye, getting even, a life for a life, pain for pain. To me, it's about balance. That's what vengeance is. It's about balance. And I'm gonna tell a little personal story about vengeance. This happened about a year ago. And I'm not gonna name any names. I'm gonna try and keep this as general as possible because I'm not trying to identify anybody. I'm not trying to trash talk anybody. This is just I'm gonna relay the events to you. So about a year ago, I had a very close friend, and we had a falling out. And that falling out was my fault. I admit it. I own it. I fucked up. I did something stupid without thinking first, and it put a strain on our friendship. 100% my fault. I own that. And so, this person, we didn't talk for a little while. But of course, you know, I apologized, said, if there's any way I can make this right, any way I can make amends, because I know I fucked up, I will. Because that's me. I own my shit. I own my mistakes. I'm human. I fuck up, and this particular time it ended up hurting a friend. Felt like shit about it. Still kind of do to this day. I feel bad about it. Not gonna lie. But this person didn't speak to me for a little while, but all the time that we weren't talking, they were running their mouth to anybody and everybody who would listen. I mean, people that didn't even know me, but they're going around playing the victim, trying to get all the sympathy, making me out to be just a horrible fucking asshole. And I'm sorry. Like I said, I know I fucked up, but it wasn't anything life-changing or earth-shattering. It, like I said, I'm not going to get into detail, but it fucked up, but it wasn't that big of a thing. At least not to me. Man, I guess it was to them. Whatever. But they're running their mouth, playing the victim, getting everybody on their side. And making me out to be such a horrible person, trash talking me to people that didn't even know me. But it came down to one person who didn't take their side, who actually came and talked to me, got my side of the thing, and admitted, yeah, I fucked up, but I don't deserve all of that, because even in between all the trash talking, there's little jabs being taken at me here and there on like social media and that kind of stuff. And this one person chose to, like I said, talk to me and chose to remain friends with me. Well, the other person, my quote unquote friend, didn't like that this person didn't automatically take their side. So they went and did something. Again, no details, but damn near cost this other friend their job. I mean, some serious shit. And I'll just say this: you can do whatever you want to me. You can say whatever you want about me, whatever. I'm an adult. I'm a grown up. I can take it. Like I said, I fucked up. So maybe I deserved all that. I personally don't think so, but obviously in their head I did. So if that's what they needed to do to make themselves feel better about the situation, fine. I was willing to accept that. I I sat and took it. I let it go. I didn't badger them. Why the fuck are you doing all that? I didn't do any of that. I sat back, I let it go because that's how they felt like they needed to handle the situation. Okay. But they chose to drag somebody else into it and take a really fucked up action against them for doing nothing other than remaining friends with me. That's something you don't do. Like I said, I can take it. I'm an adult. You feel the need to do some shit like that. Okay, fine. Do not, do not try to hurt somebody that I care about. Because that's where that switch is going to get flipped and you are going to see the vindictive side of me. And they found out. They found out because as soon as I got the phone call from this other person saying, you will not believe what this person did, I'm like, oh no, that's not going to fly. So I took some knowledge that I had and basically did the same thing to them. I put their job in jeopardy because it was uncalled for. It was unnecessary. Should have never happened. The issue was between me and you chose to pull somebody else into it for no other reason than they were still my friend. So here's your retribution for that, and balance. I didn't go overboard. What I did not exceed what they did. Balance, because it was deserved. It was earned. So that to me is what vengeance is about. And the vengeance in that case wasn't even about me. It was about they did something to somebody that I cared about. This was somebody who was one of my closest friends decides to get pissed off at another friend of mine because they're not automatically taking their side and do something to hurt them because of me. That's never going to fly, ever. So I took steps to even the playing field, so to speak, to rebalance the scales. That's what vengeance is to me. And, people will say, well, what about karma? If you believe in that kind of thing, karma is basically the idea that the universe, however you want to interpret that, the universe balances everything out. Everything you put out, you're going to get back. You put good things out, you get good things back. You put bad stuff out, you're going to get bad stuff back. Well, who's to say, people say, let karma take care of them. Well, who's to say karma doesn't act through people? Who's to say karma doesn't act through me or through you or through anybody else? We're part of the universe, and I'm not saying this is my exclusive domain. It could be through anybody, but who's to say karma doesn't act through people? I personally, I believe it does. I believe I've given karma a helping hand here and there, you know, and I'm not gonna lie, I have fun doing it sometimes. I mean, it is what it is, but there's that saying that everybody loves to say so much, fuck around and find out. If you do fucked up shit to people, you're gonna get fucked up shit back. To me, that's just the way it goes. And I'm not talking about minor little petty shit. There's some things you just need to let it go. Like somebody, I don't know, somebody calls you a name on social media, let it go. They're a faceless asshole behind a keyboard. Who cares? That uh, they're yeah, I'm not talking about trolls. Trolls are just sad, lonely fucking people. So they don't need, you know, vengeance doesn't even need to pay them a visit. They're already pathetic enough as it is. There's not much you can do to them. And that's the only way that they feel good is to screw with people online. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about somebody actually directly does something to you or to someone you love. Like, I'll use an example. My kid. No, I call him my kid, but he's a grown ass man. My son is 22 years old and he can handle his own business. He's bigger than I am. But if somebody screws with my kid, you damn right they're going to get a taste of vengeance in some way or another. I'm not going to wait for karma to get up off her ass and do something. Damn sure not going to wait for the cops to do something or the legal system, because what's it going to do? I've seen how the legal system works. It doesn't. But so that's my take on it. I mean, vengeance to me is 100% justified, you know, in most cases. I'm not gonna say every case, most cases, if it is equitable, meaning it's in balance with the original offense. That's what the justice system tries to do and fails miserably. Because again, talk about a murderer going free after 5 years. Okay, there are worse crimes than murder out there. Somebody sexually assaults somebody and sometimes don't even go to jail. We're talking about either ending somebody's life or destroying somebody's life, and you what lose a couple years off your life. That's not balance, that's not justice, that's not equal. My thing is, and sending people to jail, honestly, to me is just, that's not punishment. Sorry, I mean, okay, you're depriving them of their freedom, but they're basically living on the government's dime for however long. They're getting, 3 meals a day, roof over their head, bed to sleep in, clothes. I mean, it's not glamorous by any means. I'm not saying they're living in luxury, don't get me wrong, but they have everything provided for them. All they got to do is just be there. And I'm sure it's boring as shit. I don't care. But to me, that's not punishment. I bring back fucking labor camps. Put these motherfuckers to work for 15 years. You know, give them a sledgehammer, make them turn big rocks into small rocks. Bring back shit like that. I know those kind of places still exist in certain areas, but make that the norm. Here's a 6,000-pound boulder. I want you to turn it into gravel. Okay, that took you 5 years. Here's another one. Do it again. That's punishment. But just sitting in jail for however long, to me, is not punishment. And we do have the death penalty, which the only thing it really applies to is like capital murder, which, I'm sorry, death penalty should be expanded. You want justice, expand the fucking death penalty to include drug charges. And when I say drugs, I'm talking about drugs. I'm not talking about marijuana or mushrooms or fucking you know peyote, or I'm not talking about plants. I'm talking about drugs. Okay, cocaine dealers, heroin dealers, crack dealers, meth dealers. Fry those motherfuckers. Get them off the street. Get them off the planet. Don't put them up in a fucking jail for 10 years, paying all their bills, feeding them, clothing them. No, screw that. Get rid of them. That's my take. Same thing goes for people who are guilty of kidnapping and are guilty of any type of sexual crime. Any type. All those people, get rid of them. That to me would be justice. Because like I said, you're either taking someone's life or you are destroying their life. You need to give up more than just 2, 3, 5, however many years. Sorry. But that's why I say the justice system doesn't work. It's not, I can't even really call it justice. To me, vengeance is more pure. It's more real. It's tangible. And to me, it's satisfying because you can't undo what this person did, but that person understands now what they did because they've suffered the same thing that as the person that they made suffer. So that's why personally I favor vengeance over justice every time. And people are going to disagree, and that's okay. Like I said at the beginning of every show, in the little disclaimer before the show even starts, these are my opinions. Think for yourself. You make your own decisions. Justice versus vengeance. Throw karma in there too if you want to. Personally, I'm going to go for vengeance every time. For me personally, because I think it works better. I think it's more balanced, again, like I said, and it's more pure, it's raw, it's emotional, it's about retribution, it's about getting even. Because if somebody attacks you physically, okay, that throws your world out of balance. You go back, you beat the shit out of them to the same level that they beat you. Stuff is not back to normal, not back to where it was before, but stuff is a little more balanced again. Person doesn't need to go to jail. They just need their ass kicked to the same extent that they hurt the other person. Hell, I'd be in favor of that being an actual legal recourse. Have the person get arrested, let the victim beat the shit out of them. Let them inflict the same level of injury. Okay, you're satisfied, you got your licks in. Okay, good. Everybody go the fuck home. That to me at least would work. It'd be fair. It'd be even, it'd be equal, it would be balanced. So that's my take on justice and vengeance. And like I said, I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, and that's okay. But let me hear about it. Shoot me an email, drop me a comment on social, something. Let me know what you guys think. I'm very interested in what your take is on this. So with that, that's going to end the show for this week. Once again, thank you to everybody for watching or listening on YouTube or Spotify or wherever you get your podcast from. Make sure to follow, like, subscribe, share, rate, comment, all that kind of fun stuff. Leave me some comments, please. I really want to know what y'all think, especially on this topic. Make sure you're following on social media. It's at DILLIGAF_pod on all socials. And you can find all of that on my Linktree, which is Linktree/DILLIGAF_pod, or scan the QR code right here in the corner of your screen. You'll find links to everything. And if you ever want to shoot me an email, it's dilligafpod@gmail.com. Like I said, I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this particular topic, because I know there's going to be plenty of people who completely disagree with me, saying vengeance is wrong and let the justice system do its thing, let karma do its thing. Fuck that. I don't want to let those things do their thing, because those things don't do their thing. Again, my opinion. It's what I think. Again, thank you to everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you to everybody who has been supporting the show thus far, watching, listening, following, everything. I appreciate you guys so much. And like always, if anyone has any issues with anything that I have said here today, you need to ask yourself one question. Do I look like I give a fuck? Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah.